Carowinds has been established as one of Cedar Fair's top 5 amusement parks.
Top 5, yes.
So it's very reasonable to assume that since they haven't gotten a new coaster since Copperhead Strike back in 2019, that they're due for their next big roller coaster attraction coming in the next couple years. Now, next year, 2024, we have what is going to be Top Thrill Dragster reimagined at Cedar Point, and what seems to be Dorney Park.
Dorney Park getting a mini dive coaster.
So with those two going into Cedar Fair parks in 2024, I doubt there's going to be any other major additions going on throughout the Cedar Fair chain
in that year.
in 2024. So that leaves us to the next year, 2025. So that'll be 6 years since their last major coaster addition. So we really fully think that Carowinds 2025 will be seeing a brand new major roller coaster addition.
Whoop, whoop.
So what this video is all about is what kind of roller coaster?
What kind of roller coaster? Where will it go?
And that's it. You made it sound like there was going to be a lot more than that, but that's it. That's what this video is about.
Exactly.
What kind of roller coaster?
What kind of roller coaster, and where's it gonna go in the park?
So really quick, before we get into this video, we'd like to thank you for watching.
Yes.
If you're new to this channel, please go down and subscribe.
Subscribe.
It helps us a whole lot.
A lot.
And down in the description, there's a channel membership link, and you can become like one of these fine people right here that help out the channel immensely, make it possible for us to do all kinds of videos like this. And reward to them, they get all sorts of exclusive content.
Exclusive polls, exclusive pictures, all sorts of good stuff.
With all that said, let's get straight into this video. Now, first order of business is finding out where Carowinds is going to be building this next roller coaster. They have space in a couple different spots, and you can kind of assume like that there's a few different options, but we see one option.
One really good option that stands alone.
Yeah, and this is what we're predicting.
Yes.
We think that it's going to be Bye-Bye Nighthawk.
Bye-Bye Nighthawk.
Bye-Bye. That is one of only 2 Vekoma Flying Dutchmans left in the United States, or in the world, actually.
In the world.
Yeah.
The other one being at Six Flags America.
Batwing.
Yes.
And it's really hard to find parts for this. Vekoma doesn't make parts for this roller coaster anymore. So Carowinds has to keep buying either used parts or just kind of like, it doesn't work out. Things, they buy parts and then they break and things don't work.
Nothing is really fixing Nighthawk at Carowinds.
Yeah, it's a big maintenance nightmare for them. So I think they're just holding on as long as they can until next year at the end of 2024 when they announce that Nighthawk is going to be going bye-byes. And it's going to be giving its last ride at the end of next season.
That's sad.
So it's going to be coming down. Now, the reason that we think, besides the fact that it's just that Vekoma Flying Dutchmans just don't exist anymore, is the fact that it's a huge space.
It's a very big space, yes.
As you can see here, it covers about 2.8 acres of land.
That's a lot of acres.
In comparison, if you look at Copperhead Strike, it covers just about the same amount of land.
A little bit less.
A little bit less, actually. So, and Copperhead Strike is considered one of their top 3 roller coasters in the park. So it just shows that you can take that type of land and build something amazing in it.
Yeah.
So we think it only makes sense that they take this down and use that area for something brand new and something that will revitalize that area, because right now you have Nighthawk right next to Vortex.
That's 2 not really loved coasters right next to each other.
Yeah, so put something new and...
Then you got something good and then Vortex still.
Yeah, so you still got Vortex, but you got something brand new that people will surely love. Now, let's get into exactly what kind of roller coaster could go into that area.
Let's see.
And what Carowinds actually needs. Now, Carowinds is a very top-heavy park. Carowinds has Fury.
Fury 325, Intimidator, Copperhead Strike, Afterburn. That's their big 4.
That's their big 4 coasters, and those are all great roller coasters.
Amazing.
People love them, especially Fury, obviously. But then after that, it takes a huge dip. And I think the biggest problem is that Fury and all those rides that we mentioned that were their top 4 are all like bigger height requirements. None of them are 48-inch height requirements.
Yeah, Fury's 54. The other ones are
like 52. Probably Afterburn's probably 54 if I had to guess.
Yeah. So they're taller. They don't have any like 48 inch height requirements for their bigger coasters.
Yeah, well, but the coasters that they do have 48-inch height requirements are their Carolina Cyclone and Hurler, rides that aren't that good, that people aren't going to be like scrambling to ride.
Even Wild Mouse has a 54-inch height requirement, and that's often considered a family coaster, but kids under 54 inches can't ride.
So what we feel is that Carowinds is in desperate need of a really good thrill/family coaster that is at minimum, or maximum, I should say, like a 48-inch height requirement, preferably even a little bit lower, so you can get more kids involved, because they don't have a lot of coasters for kids like that other than their kiddie coasters. So you got to think like what kind of coasters have that kind of height requirement, and also who is Cedar Fair working with at the moment. You just had over at Worlds of Fun, you had Zambezi Zinger built.
And that is a GCI sort of Titan track.
It's about probably half or a little less than half
Titan track, but it is a GCI.
GCI, very reliable company that Cedar Fair seems to love. And Zambezi Zinger is getting a lot of positive reviews.
Yes,
so
it
far.
is. It's kind of it's technically a family coaster, but it's definitely a very, very thrilling family coaster. To be honest, it barely looks like a family coaster to me.
Yeah, and it barely looks like a family coaster to them, because Zambezi Zinger started out with a 40-inch height requirement, and they ended up raising it to 48-inch height requirement, and that's a huge jump. And they also raised it from a number 4, like they kind of level out their coasters. It was a number 4, like thrilling coaster, and they moved it up to their top level, I think number 5.
Yes.
So it's now a level 5 thrill coaster.
Yeah.
But we're thinking something like that would be perfect, maybe toned down a little bit. Maybe Cedar Fair learned from it, GCI learned from it.
And it's not like that's a bad thing, that's a great thing, but they wanted a family coaster. Zambezi Zinger is really not a family coaster. So if they want to do a family coaster, they just say, hey, GCI, do what you did with Zambezi Zinger, tone it down a little bit. Zambezi Zinger, but tone it down
a little bit. And you could probably get that 40-inch height requirement and maybe like a level 3 or 4 thrill level. And it would be something that enthusiasts would probably love, the general public would love. And plenty of families and kids can all enjoy the ride together. And that is something that Carowinds is desperately lacking. So a GCI ground-up Titan track, something like that would be perfect. But there's also another option. We were kind of going over the different kinds of options. Now, and of course, there's plenty of different kinds of options. You can go, you can replace a Vekoma with another Vekoma. There's the family boomerangs.
There's the family boomerangs. Of course, you can build a 500-foot RMC T-Rex.
That's very family friendly. But we started thinking, okay, who is Cedar Fair really working with right now? And obviously, the big talk right now is Zamperla.
Zamperla, I've never heard of them. I didn't know that Cedar Fair was working with them.
Well, it's very interesting. They seem to be working with them. And Zamperla has what we found is a family/thrill launch coaster that looks really, really good. Now, none of these have actually been built yet, so I guess like there's nothing to go off of for these. But if Cedar Fair is trusting Zamperla,
and this one does have a spike, right?
Yes. Yeah.
It does have a spike.
Yeah, it has a spike.
So let's see.
It has a launch. It has a switch track.
Yeah, so we'll see if Cedar Fair feels like trusting Zamperla for a spike and swing launch.
Yeah, probably not. But
I mean, if
at least something small.
Something small would be a good start for Zamperla to do something like this. Yeah.
But this kind of ride, they offer 3 different kinds of trains. One of them offers like a more higher capacity. It's has 4 people per car instead of just 2, but it's like a truck. And then they have a couple like motorbikes. So you can get capacity anywhere from like 1,200 people an hour down to around like 700 or 800 people an hour. So you can get like multiple ranges of capacity and with different kinds of themed trains. And the ride just looks like, the animation just looks like it would be a fun ride. It would look like you get only about 1,700 feet of track, which seems like it's not that much, but you cover, I think, around 2,000 feet of track because it does go up a spike and has a backwards launch and then goes through some of the track backwards. And so there's that whole thing where this just launched coasters like this, launched family coasters seem to be the hip thing amongst amusement parks. You have Big Bear Mountain.
Yeah, Big Bear Mountain. You have Snoopy's Racing Railway, Canada's Wonderland.
Yeah, and I could have sworn there were at least a couple others, but family coasters in general, Wild Mouse at Cedar Point, family coasters seem to be very hot right now in the amusement park industry.
Especially this year, so many family coasters have opened. Like, more family coasters have opened up this year than any other year.
Families are becoming a great focus, and not only is Carowinds probably looking to bring in some of those family dollars, but like we said, it's a much needed ride. It's a huge gap in their lineup, and they need something like this. So out of those two rides, the Zamperla family launch coaster and the GCI Time Track, I'm leaning more towards the Zamperla.
I'm leaning slightly more towards the Zamperla. What about, here's another idea. What about a Gravity Group family coaster?
So something like a Kentucky Flyer,
Wooden Warriors,
I mean, that's definitely, they love Gravity Group. Cedar Fair does love Gravity Group. Gravity Group has done a great job retracking Beast,
Racer
at Kings Island, both at Kings Island.
Grizzly at Kings Dominion, lots of retracks.
So Cedar Fair definitely is in good favor, Gravity Group is in good favor with
Cedar Fair.
Cedar Fair. So something like that. It's a little small. This plot of land is pretty big.
It is pretty big, and those are very compact, small coasters, so yeah.
So I could see something like that if there was a potential for something like that. Then maybe they wouldn't be tearing down Nighthawk and maybe put it into a different spot if they wanted to keep Nighthawk.
But then you can do a whole themed area, and Cedar Fair likes themed areas. You have Aeronautical Landing, and then 2025 you have another themed area.
Maybe.
But I think the most likely option is probably the Zamperla launch thingy
family thrill coaster.
Family thrill coaster with a spike and swing launch.
They don't really have a exact name for it. A lot of these manufacturers name rides or something. But this on the website is just called Family Thrill Launch Coaster or whatever.
And this would be really cool. Yeah, I mean, seeing Zamperla build a spike and a swing launch would be really cool. So I hope that does happen.
We want to hear from you guys. What do you think about those options? What do you think about the Nighthawk going away? What do you think about that? Do you think that maybe they might build a coaster in 2025, but another area? Just all your opinions. Drop them down in the comment section because we want to hear all of it.
Do it. Go down there, type your opinion.
So thank you guys for watching this video. We appreciate it greatly, and we'll see you guys right here next time on Beach Cliff Studios.